Justice League number 6, Scott Snyder writing, Jorge Jimenez on the art.
Mhm.
And let me get the book up here.
Yep.
So I'm curious, Matt, how giddy were
Yep.
you with the final page of this?
So I got super stoked, but again, this is so dense. And as I was trying to read it, I had somebody talking to me on my break.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just kind of powering through it. So I think I understand how we got there, but I'm not 100% sure. I did have a friend message me and go, "That's definitely the White Lantern symbol, right? That's not the Black Lantern symbol." I go, "Yes, because white is the symbol of life."
Yes.
Okay, it's been like, and then he's like, "It's been like 11 years." And then I thought about it, like, yeah, Blackest Night was like,
2008.
yeah, 2000, yeah,
2008.
started in '07.
Been 10
So,
years. Yeah.
holy crap.
I know it's funny. I feel like what you just said there before though about you think you know how we got here, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
details that, and I'm not sure how they all exactly line up or make sense.
Hmm.
I feel like that basically sums up how I feel about Snyder's writing sometimes, where he
Okay,
throws in
that's just me.
so many so many concepts and like ideas,
Yeah.
and like you do this and this will happen. I'm like, okay, sure. That's to say I didn't enjoy the issue. I did enjoy the issue quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the hero's been beaten down. Batman fighting Lex Luthor inside Superman's body at a micro level, and Lex Luthor it's not winning per se in a fighting sense, but
No,
he gets to the doorknob first, and he's like kind of
his
winning,
upper hand.
and he's
Well, because Bruce, this is what happens anytime if Bruce subscribes to a certain not characteristics, but he plays by the rules. So this is like a boxer going into a match, going like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna hit
mm,
below the belt." Whereas Lex is the boxer that's like, "Oh no, that's the first thing I'm doing." Right? I don't follow the same set of rules you do, and that's how I took that fight into this. And this that I mean, that's basically Lex's thing. That's entropy. That's doom. He's gonna find his way no matter what. I will say that the first half I thought was that kind of lost me a little bit, but as it kept going, and I just bought on just to keep it going. I liked how it ended with how each of those heroes faced what they needed to face and how they
mm.
got to the end. I don't. That doesn't mean I understood it, but how I think I understand it, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tease for the next arc with because Black Manta and Cheetah go to
Yep.
retrieve their forces, I think, or the items that will unlock their forces.
Yeah.
So it's teasing that Wonder Woman and Aquaman focused stuff. But they're all kind of still spread out. Eventually, Lex, when he gets the doorknob, just zaps Batman away.
Mhm.
And Batman's like, Kendra, you have to get Joker under control. You have to get Martian Manhunter back online, if you will, because he's invading in here with his powers. And Kendra's like, oh, something weird's happened to my wings, Batman, and she tries to like regain control. Um,
Yeah.
but Lex blasts them back to the Hall of Justice, and it's actually here where like, okay, right, we have to quickly solve this somehow, and John finds out that Cyborg's no longer blocking the ultraviolet stuff, the Umbrax.
Mhm.
He's not blocking that. John's doing that on his own, and he figures out that because he kind of like actually spoke about how he was feeling about Zhangshi,
Mhm.
and basically concludes that because he accepted what he was kind of fighting and he kind of went with the emotion and just let it be
Mhm.
and accepted it, he actually is now sort of regaining control naturally. So they want to inspire everyone to kind of embrace what this Umbrax has given them, and
Yeah.
then they can let it control it, and then it'll be okay,
Yeah.
and that's fine. And this leads to the Flashmobile that was set up an issue or two
Mhm.
ago, uh, which can still operates in the Speed Force. John Stewart goes into the Flashmobile, drives around the planet so fast, spreading with his ultraviolet light,
Mhm.
how to like sort
So
of accept these feelings.
So that's how I understood it, is because he cracked the code of the ultraviolet,
Mm-hmm.
all the ultraviolets connected. That's how he was able to do that, right?
I guess I didn't really think about it too
Okay.
much in that sense, but yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because I,
But
I, I just kind of read it as like he's going around the planet, all over the planet, uh, emanating his beam to like let
yeah.
everyone know, like how to react to this, how to
But
deal with it.
but I like that because the whole thing of the ultraviolet core was, this is your inner thoughts you don't share with people,
Yeah,
right? So that gives them powers because you want to keep that secret. You don't want to tell your boss that you hate them,
yeah,
right? so it festers inside you. But
And it's not even about literally telling them; it's more just about
no,
accepting it
exactly.
yourself.
So if
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah, I don't like you, but you know what? I'm gonna be the bigger person and go and do my stuff anyways. You know, um, and I like that. That's how he fought it. What he you didn't fight the energy, you redirected it,
Yeah.
and then you get the Flash with the still force where he can't run through the still force. It's creating too much of a barrier. Like it's gonna take him decades to reach what he needs to.
So he needs to slow down. He needs to just
So he
still.
just
Yeah.
stops and he takes like Jimenez killed that page that panel
Hmm.
where he's sitting in like a Buddhist meditation like lotus position, and just the Flash not moving is something that's such a weird
Yeah.
concept.
And
Like
Jean's connecting all of humanity telepathically to help John spread
yeah.
the.
And so we all know that each of them are going to have a different force,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's so. Did they talk about John's and the whole his isolation? And was his key connecting everybody? So instead of him being isolated,
Oh,
like
did you mean Jean? I thought you said John there.
John,
Yeah.
yeah. Because he was the other one that they touch on. They talk about John Stewart, Ultraviolet Lantern,
Yeah.
and then Barry. He focuses on being still, right? And then you have John, who's like connecting everybody, and that's how he overcomes
Yeah, because
it. So
he was shutting everything off. He was keeping it a secret,
right,
everything he saw from Vandal Savage.
right,
So instead, he's going to share his concerns and let everyone kind of
right,
shoulder the burden along with him.
right. So
Um,
I liked all of that, but it was so I don't want to say sunk down because that makes it sound like it's bad, but it's not. But it's
mm.
so in there, and there's so much else going on. I almost feel like this should have been 2 issues versus just one.
No, I kind of see what you're saying. I mean, I think overall it was a pretty good issue. I like how it builds. Um, but when he starts throwing around all these crazy ideas, I always feel like he rushes through them in a really
Yeah,
quick way. But that's just something I have a problem with in Snyder's writing in general. But at least here I'm still having fun, and it all builds up. We see that Kendra shows up again. She's still inside the totality with Lex.
yeah.
And Lex notices that the color of the doorknob's actually changing, and he's like, "What the hell's happening?" And this is obviously the effect of what's happening with John Stewart and what he's doing. And then Joker's like mad because someone's just pulled a bigger joke than he ever has. And then that's when we get the final page. The Earth has changed to like a white glow, and the White Lantern symbols over it. Because John's expecting it to be green. He's expecting to restore everyone's will, and instead it's kind of restoring life. And I guess it kind of makes sense in a weird way, because
Yeah.
ultraviolet's kind of the opposite of white light.
Right. It
So
is. It's the unseen light. It's not. So death isn't the opposite of life, right? Like it's a part of life. That's what we learned in Blackest Night.
yeah, it's yeah, sure.
So of course the opposite of the seen is the unseen. So I like how he took something that was established and he's flipped it on its side. I won't say he's completely flipped it around, but he's like making us look at it in a different way. That's kind of what he did with the Still Force as well.
Hmm.
It's created this barrier that the more Barry fights it, the more powerful it becomes. So in order to overcome it, you don't fight it.
I think what
Uh,
I like about this is I like that he's bringing in the White Lantern stuff. Like
yeah.
it's just it feels like he's genuinely pulling from a lot of DC history. Some of
Mhm.
it more recent than others, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, this is 10 years old now. That's actually
Yeah.
Blackest Night and everything about it actually is kind of part of DC history. So because I think for a long time it kind of feels like, oh, that was something that just recently happened. That's part of what's just
That
been
was
going
it.
on.
Yeah.
But now it's 10 years old, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's just part of like the backlog now.
And here it fits in with the theme of entropy too and doom, because that's kind of what the opposite of it is yeah, we know this is going on, but we still have to live, and I feel like that's what Luther has to learn. Is like, yeah, entropy is always going to happen, you know. So we'll see where it goes. But no, I liked it. It's just it's a lot compressed in there.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's kind of like that old saying, courage is not the absence of fear, it's the presence of fear, yet the will to go on.
yep,
It's kind of the same thing. Like, entropy is always
yeah,
going to be there, but it's not about
right,
getting rid of it, it's about
right,
overcoming
and
it.
that's what makes Lex a villain because Lex feels like he has to control it,
Hmm.
right, and not just go with it. And here, so My biggest issue with this book is not understanding what Joker's joke was. Is that the purpose? Like, was that
um, I
because he
mean,
starts? It starts, and we get this really cool page, and Jimenez killed it, of possible Joker origins,
yeah,
and that's the joke with him is Joker doesn't even really know at this point if what his what was he the Red Hood? Was he this failed comedian? Was he a sick kid, or was he a regular kid that just broke bad, right? And then you kind of get lost in what's going on in the story with all the, I don't want to call it minutia, but all the still force and John and the ultraviolet, and then it comes back to Joker with Kendra,
yeah.
and
No,
it starts again with what the joke is, and I feel like I missed something.
I feel like what it's really saying here is the joke, because he feels like he's accomplished the greatest joke he's ever pulled, and I think that's like
Right.
helping turn the world into its opposite, right? That's the big grand
Okay.
joke, and then when it turns into the White Lantern symbol, and it's like, oh, everything's changed again. It's like, oh, someone's pulled an even bigger joke on me. So he's like, oh, now he's jealous. Now he has to
Right.
kill thousands to make up for
Okay.
this,
Yeah.
which is just Joker in a nutshell, I guess. But
Yeah.
actually, can I just say how I'm digging the third person narration boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really simple and neat way of making it feel like this epic story that's really important. Like someone is telling this later, or someone's even. It's actually not even later. I think if it was told in the past tense,
It would be, but this is, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. He brought back the monitor, so it wouldn't
oh
surprise me
yeah,
if the monitor's narrating
like
this.
I mean, if it was told in the past tense, it was important. But I think having it in present tense, but also third person narrated, it
Mm-hmm.
makes it feel like it's something important that's happening right now. Like, and that sounds obvious, but what I mean is it feels like this epic grand thing where there's, and it could be the monitor, but some unseen force, some being from above is like commenting on what's happening and kind of almost agnostically just kind of analyzing and observing what's happening.
Yeah.
It gives it that kind of feeling, and I was noticing a lot in this issue. I was like, man, this gives it a really unique kind of vibe that's different to a lot of Snyder's other books and to most other books, really. Because most of the time, it's just
Yeah.
it's the characters narrating. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
here, there's actually in this issue, I don't think there's any narration from any of the characters. I think all the narration's all third person,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
No, but yeah, it's the art. I mean, I love Jimenez, so that
Oh, it's
goes
good,
without
yeah.
saying. You know.
Solid. I mean, there's the odd shaky moment here or there,
Yeah.
where it feels like the background might have been rushed a little bit, just to save some time. Like there's one panel where it's the Flash and he looks really great, but Aquaman and Wonder Woman who are standing behind him have like no detail on their face whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can tell it's okay. There's little corners here or there that maybe were cut to make the deadline. But and I'm not going to blame him. Double shipping, and I know he had the last
Yeah.
issue off, but still, that's like 4 issues in the space
So
of two and a
okay.
half months. But
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes with the life and what that means for Luther's plan going forward, because we still have all of these. Because like you mentioned, Black Manta got the
yeah,
Tear of Extinction, and then like the Key of the Gods
yeah.
for
So I'm
uh,
assuming Black Mantas will be like almost like evil oil. Like it's the opposite of
yeah,
water. It'll ruin the water almost. Like
yeah.
we're going with something like that, or I don't know. And then I'm not sure what Cheetahs is going to do though for Wonder Woman. I'm not sure what that one's going to
No,
be.
I mean I wonder if it has anything to do with those what they teased in the crossover with those the whatever gods. I
No,
forget
that
the.
was in Wonder Woman's book. That was
Oh, that was Wonder
Robinson's.
Woman's.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So I'm
So
not sure, but I'm curious to find out. But I mean, it makes
yeah,
sense that the Aquaman one would be some kind of like poison to water,
yeah. Or even if it's just to all kinds of life. I mean,
Yeah,
because that's kind of what Black Manta is about. Is he's all about revenge, and if he can wipe out as much sea life as he can, that's gonna hurt Aquaman more than anything.
yeah. So we'll see how that shapes up. But no, I mean, I thought it was a solid issue. I'm liking all the big grandiose stuff. It does kind of rush through these big concepts. It makes them feel kind of like, I don't want to say out of nowhere per se, but just feel a little bit hard to swallow on a first glance. But
Definitely.
for the most part, they're pretty fun though. At the very least, like it leads to big grand moments that are really ridiculous and silly fun. So, um, I'm enjoying this more than I've enjoyed Snyder in a while. I think. Like I'm liking this on the whole more than I'm liking Metal so far.
Yeah, but again, I think it's metal was this big bombastic thing, whereas this it's a little more focused.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're at the book then. Justice League number
Mhm.
6. What are you thinking?
So I'm thinking just because of the story not being that clear and it gets overwhelmed, but I still really liked it and the art was still. I think I'm gonna give it an 8. I think it's a pretty solid, fair score.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm gonna give it an 8 as well. I think the pacing is just a little bit muddy at times, but most of the big stuff that happens is really exciting. And we
Yeah.
didn't even mention Kendra's new wings that we don't know what they're made of yet, but
No,
something happened to
I'm
her in that totality. We got these new glowing wings.
sure it's some kind of metal, you know. So
It'll be her like other force. It'll be
yeah,
whatever the opposite of Nth is.
an upside down N is a U, so we'll try to figure something
The
out.
Nth force, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.